big man himself. So with due respect and with, on behalf of the participants and those watching us on Facebook, we would like to welcome Mr. Mpare for his time, and also we will say we are very, very grateful to, learn from you, because most of us on this platform are youth. And so therefore we are so, so grateful for your time, and you can kindly have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ernest, Chief J. Thank you very much for this opportunity to transfer knowledge. Okay, every time that I get the chance to do this, I feel that it is like dream come true. Not that I don't get fulfillment in doing other things, like in terms of work or other things, but I think that this is the most important thing that any person can do. Don't get swayed by my white beard to think that this is a very old man or old guy coming to talk to you. It just happens that I've got white beard very early. So I'm not that old. So I understand young people, and I understand the urgency by which we need to take life. So I want to thank you all for even taking time off your busy schedules, or even if you don't have anything to do. Some of you could be playing PS4, FIFA 2020 or FIFA 2019. I also play sometimes. So it's good that you've actually taken time off. And once you've decided to be part of this meeting tonight, I believe that you are somebody who is not happy about being an average person or a normal person. You want to take steps in becoming somebody special or somebody valuable in your generation, in your organization, or in your community, or even in this nation. And I like to talk passionately about this because we don't have quality people, many quality people in this country. And this is how we can actually sharpen ourselves in terms of professionalism, or even getting ourselves ready for the work environment. So it's not enough to have a degree. It's not enough to have a master's. It's not enough to have a technical degree. There's something beyond that, and that's what I want to talk about. If you are going to make it in life, I'm not saying I've made it in life. I'm on my way. I'm trying 16 years of work. I don't even remember when I started and how I got the 16 years, but it's just been a gradual process and patiently following what God has got for me. Of course, I can never take out God, and so God is behind every reason or everything that I have become. So, I mean, thank you for that interesting profile. I do not know how these things were built over the years, but as I said, it's a lot of patience. So I'm going to talk about a few things. Now, the title is Cutting Edge Professional. When you talk about cutting edge, it's about being ahead of your companions, or being ahead of the competition, or being ahead of the pack. That means that there's already a competition going on, and there's already some kind of movement going on, and that people are moving towards a particular direction, and you seek to be above, and even not only above, within the top of the set of people that are moving towards a particular direction. Now, this is very important, especially in our nation, because even before the COVID-19, it was difficult to find employment. Now that the COVID has come, people have been laid off, salaries have been cut. I mean, so many things have happened to employment, and even before that, I know that there were some, financial institution closures. Okay, some companies were closed down because of many other things. So a lot of people lost their jobs. So the main question is that, look, how do you get back into the job stream? So there are people who are trying to get back into the job stream. There are some who are coming out of school into the job stream, and there are some who are reviving their careers, or are, coming out even with a second degree or even other, professional degrees. So the competition out there is very, very tight, and it demands that you actually apply yourself to an extent that, you don't enter only in interviews and come back depressed, or go and disgrace yourself. So this is not about interviewing, because getting a job is not only about interview. You can actually have a job even without an interview. If it's based on recommendation, out there, you meet someone, the way you do your things, the way you talk, the way you go about your thinking, that person can actually employ you even without an interview. Because there are certain things that when you see in a person's life, tells you about the seriousness or the cutting edge ability of that person. If that person wants to lead or that person wants to be ahead of the pack, you will know how that person goes about their duties. So that's why I'm talking about this topic, because it's very, very dear to my heart and for every youth. I mean, and I've quite some experience in dealing with youth. Um, on the job side, forgive me for my throat. On the job side, at church, I've sat in a few interviews where young people have come from school and I've been interviewed. And sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm saying that, I mean, how did this happen? How did this person get to this place? This person, did he or she prepare enough to get to this place? All right. So that's why this topic is very important. So let me get straight into what I want to talk about today. Now, this slide is very, very important. Who and where do you want to be? Think about it. I mean, this doesn't start from even university level. This starts from primary. This starts from secondary level. All right. When in secondary school or primary school, you need to start thinking, or somebody should have thought what you want to become or where you want to be. Now, in a country like that, where in a country like this, where opportunities are limited, it's always important to know what we want to become or where we want to go to. The average Ghanaian child or the average, youth all over the world, sometimes you ask the person, what do you want to do? I don't really want to, I don't know. So when they get there, well, sometimes when everybody is doing science, yeah, I want to do science. Everybody's doing arts, I want to do arts. Not because of what you want to be or where you want to be, but because you just want to, swim along. And sometimes some of us are not privileged to have, parents or, mentors or people around us who will guide us or guide and guard us as to what we have to do. So we end up doing anything, especially when you don't have parents who have, been to where you want to be to, or where you want to go to, or what your ambitions are. It's very difficult for you to get to that level. So this is a very important slide. Now, there are low performance in life, there are average performance, and there are high performance in life. Now, this slide, I'm using it very cautiously because you can be, did Andre Ayew is a very high performer on the field, but when you come and place him in a classroom, he might be a low performer or even might not appear on this chart. Why? Because this is not to sit in a classroom. So this has to be contextual. Wherever that you are, what have you become? Are you a low performer, average performer, or high performer? Now, there are people who in school were very low performers but ended up becoming high performers. And I'm going to show you, that's the last slide we're going to talk about, how to move from a low performer to a high performer. And there were some people who were high performers who along the line got complacent, so became low performance. Now you see that the average performance, that section of the bell curve, this is called a bell curve. Okay, it's a statistical image that actually tells us a lot of things. Now, many average performers are in the middle. That means that it is easy to find yourself in the middle, to be an average person. People complain that, oh, but I have to sleep, but I have to enjoy life, but I have to go to parties, but I have to watch television, I have to be a happy person, I have to take pictures and put them on Facebook, I have to, these are average performers. Nothing really matters to them. They spend no sleepless nights to get things done. So in life, you have majority of people in this, in the average performing section. Now, looking at yourself, you should be able to think. Now, what my intention or my objective tonight is to make sure that people will commit and make decisions that will turn their lives around. Because when you begin to give some careful attention to your career, and you begin to think through where you are and where you want to be, there are steps that you need to take that should actually transform you. So who and where do you want to be? Think about it. I want you just to think about this in 30 seconds or in 1 minute. Where am I? Where do I want to be? When I set off in school, when I set off the university, where did I want to be? Forget about COVID. COVID has just come to disrupt the whole world. But before COVID, even now, what have you done or what have you been doing? Are you a low performer, average performer, high performer? Or where are the areas in your life where you are high performing, and where are the areas in your life where you are average performing, and where in your life are the areas where you are low performing? And now, when you realize that you are a low performer in a particular area, then you need to work out on that to bring yourself even to an average performer before a high performer, because it requires a lot of energy even to move from low performer to average performer. So as you can see the bell curve, if you're a low performer in the yellow section and you want to move up to average performer or move into the zone of average performer, it takes you see that graph, very short like that, because you can just draw it with your finger and get there, but it doesn't take such easy effort to get there. So the first question that is striking on your heart, that should strike you even this evening, before we talk about the cutting edge professional, is who and where do you want to be in life? There is the highway, and I say this all the time, whether I'm talking in church, talking at work, or even talking to you guys as I'm doing now. There's the highway of life, there's the average way, and there's the low way of life. If you want to have that highway of life, I'm not talking about highway where you have 5 cars in your house. You can have a lot of 5 cars, you can have a lot of cars, 5 cars, 10 houses, but you can be an invaluable person. Nobody calls you for an advice because you just enjoy your money, you just enjoy your cars, and nobody cares about that. But a valuable person is somebody who, when you spend 10 minutes or 5 minutes with, or 20 minutes or 1 hour with, your whole life changes because you make commitments. All right. So you need to make up your mind. Which level, which way do you want to take? Do you want to take the highway? Do you want to take the midway? Or you want to take the low way? I'm a Christian, so normally you ask me, why do you want to say, well, I want to be just a normal Christian. I want to be a normal worker. Normal workers are people who will stay in one position for a very long time. And if when there's a layoff, they will be quickly, taken away. But high performers, before even you say Jack, you want to sack them, somebody even wants to grab them. So high performers are normally poached. They are not even, you don't even waste time interviewing them. They are poached because they are high performers. They turn around organizations. So who and where do you want to be? Think about it. I'm talking about the cutting edge professional. Now let's talk about this. Now, you see, in reality, there's a pullback or a push-up for the top, all right? As you get to the top, there's something which is going to pull you down or push you up. And you have to decide how to use these resources or components in our lives which God has given to us. Everyone that has been created has been given any of these, all right? Now let's talk about this. Makeup, right? Makeup. When I say makeup, your temperament. There are different types of temperaments. There's the phlegmatic, there's the melancholic, there's the sanguine, and there's the melancholic, sanguine, phlegmatic, and the choleric. I've even forgotten my own temperament, choleric and sanguine. So even though there's phlegmatic, choleric, sanguine, and melancholic, there are mixtures somehow. There's a close son. I am a close son. Some are male son. Some are male core. Now your makeup can help you get to the top or bring you down. The temperament, your physique, okay, that's not a spelling, it's supposed to be PHYSOSIQUE. Your physique, health, and philosophy, all right? How you think about things. Like, if you're ever going to be anything in this life, it depends on how you think, and that's your makeup. Your makeup can be, your makeup can be built by so many things in this life. Some people read a lot of scripture. Some people read a lot of books. Some people read a lot of things. Some people are very observant. Some people stay with old men and old, people. So the old people are able to transfer to them traditions. So they have philosophy. Now, when we were in school, there were some people who were, I used to have a friend, and I always tell him that, hey, you were the one who was, after school, he became very strange. So I asked him, well, the guy who was teaching me sense in school. So what happened to you? Because the guy was living with his grandmother and was always ahead of the class. So your makeup can pull you back. You see, if you're not able to deal with your temperament, you're a sanguine, a flippant person. Today you're happy, tomorrow you're sad. Today you're happy, tomorrow you're sad. When they give you an assignment, you do a little bit and then you leave it. Or when they give you an assignment, you cry a bit and then get happy and then you're excited. Oh, I'll do it. The next time, where's the assignment? I didn't get it done. So your temperament can pull you back. Or that sanguine ability or that choleric ability can push you up. Sanguines are exciting. They can be salespeople. They can sell you anything. They can sell you they can sell you a crocodile when you don't even need a crocodile. You end up take it to me and say, did I really buy a crocodile? So your makeup can push you up. So by looking at your makeup, it should lead you as to what you want to become in that scope of an average high performer or an average high performer or low performer. Where do you want to be? Your makeup can be a pullback or push up. Now, when you look into your life, you can actually determine what people have told you. In school, they told you that the way you do this, it might not help you Some teachers are good. Some teachers can say things that can actually discourage you. Me, my teacher, one of my teachers told me that, look, you are going to be a failure in life. And I'm writing a book. So the chief author, he's the great man, so he's written a book. But I'm following after me. When I write my book, one of the things I said over there that I was totally disqualified until I found my tune in life. All right, after secondary school, I found my tune in life. So your makeup, now your material, which is very important. The average person on the street doesn't know what their skills and talents and gifts and attitude are. Okay, so if you don't find a very good career like Cristiano Ronaldo, a few days ago, I was watching, the footballers and their cars. And I was watching Lamborghini and all those wonderful cars, very expensive cars. So you want to be a great footballer before you recognize what your skills are. There are skills, talents, gifts, attitude, and abilities that God has given to you. Now, these skills can either pull you back or push you up for the top. Why? Because when you start comparing your skills and your talents and your abilities with other people's, you just say that, oh no, let me just forget about life because this guy is so good at doing this. But you see, God made everyone, different. And some people are very skilled and multi-gifted and multi-talented, all right, and different attitudes. Some people have different attitudes towards life, and that can also pull you back or push you up. So I'm talking about things that can pull us back or push us up. Talking about the cutting edge professional. These are things that you need to consider. Now, in terms of machine, when I talk about machine, I normally talk about machine. No, this is like in marketing, people use that 6 M's. So I normally like to use this to analyze resources that people have got around them or how God has made us. So the machinery talks about the passion, the drive. Some people are living, but they are dead. When you employ somebody who is living and dead, you will be flogging a dead horse. And that's what it means. You'll be flogging a dead horse. The guy is dead. You want him to do some work, and every time he's delaying, he'll come to work late. He will be the first person to leave. He's on his phone, he's chatting. When you give him work, he comes with mistakes. He cannot identify errors. He adds up things and they don't add up well. And you go and you present them, and you are standing there presenting to everybody, and you realize the mistakes, the typos. No, we can't get there. So you look at what your passion, your drive, and your exposure to technology. Now, when Windows 10 came, I really struggled to deal with Windows 10. I don't know, for some reason, I was just struggling with this. I said, no, I need to learn how to use this very well at some point because this is where the world is going. Some people don't know how to use Zoom. Some people don't know how to use Microsoft Teams. Some people don't know how to use Microsoft Word. Some people don't know how to use Microsoft PowerPoint. Some people don't know how to use Microsoft Access, Microsoft Outlook. So you're not in the game. Hello. I hope somebody's, hearing something today. You are not in the game. Your passion, your drive, your exposure to technology, it can pull you back or push you up. So you are going for an interview, and after the interview, they say, oh, these guys, there are 3 guys out of 5 or out of 10. There are 3 guys who did very well. Now let's do something to differentiate them. What would they do? They would actually have to, they will sit you down and then they will give you assignments. So the one who's been practicing at home, okay, not having any kind of tutor, but thinking, okay, I can't while away time, especially in this COVID period where many of us have been in the house. Some people have totally wasted it. Watched a lot of movies on Netflix. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I saw a movie, Ashanti Kingdom, or some very interesting movie. I want to watch it as well. People have watched a lot of movies without learning these skills in Excel. You cannot do Excel, you cannot do Word, you cannot do PowerPoint. So who should employ somebody like that? Your passion, your drive, your exposure to technology. So it's actually going to pull you back or push you up. There are some people that when you employ them, they have readily transferable skills. So when you put them on the job immediately, they're able to go ahead of their companions. That's who you have to be, a cutting edge professional. We don't need to retrain you, spend time and money. Now, what organizations don't have now is time, money, and even the resource to even teach you. So when they get someone who's already prepared, it's good for them because they can easily now adopt or take you in and actually let you even bring value immediately as you are employed. Now your market. So this could be your pullback or your push or up for the top. Your market is your environment and your economy. When I say your economy, every human being has got an economy. Now there's a systemic economy, right? Which is that you are in Ghana, you are in Africa. There are certain things that you can get in Ghana, right? Or there are certain things you can never get in Ghana, and that you have to bring yourself to such terms. When you are schooling, you need to think about it. How is Ghana like? What are the kind of careers that are needed? And you need to see how your environment is, right? Would this be good for my environment? Now these days, this is good that is, I'm talking to youth, because you not to sound judgmental, but you see, you can't wear anything, you can't look like anything and come for an interview. I mean, there are times when interviews where, by the time the guy maybe might be very intelligent, but the way he's looking, you're like, this guy, he's so concerned about his work, he's not concerned about how he looks, or how would you present such a person to your client. So if you have to go out meeting clients, are you a good representation of the company? So right there, I mean, regardless of your intelligence as a person, your image alone gives you away. So you have to understand the environment in which you are. If you are going to sell in the market, then you have to know how to tie clothes around you. It's fine to be like that. If you're going to work in a bank, you have to know how to put on your tie very well. Do you know there's a French knot, there's an American knot, there's a British knot? Do you know how to iron your shirt in such a way that you look professional? Do you have one proper black suit ironed well and not ironed with, it's shining? I mean, when you go for an interview looking like that and you're going to work for a very top bank or a top financial institution, you might not end up going there. So your environment, exposure, the things that you've seen, or your environment should tell you, should help you push up rather than pull you back. Now let me talk about this. Many young people sit down and say that, oh, I don't have money, so I could not go to school. I don't have money, so I could not do anything. Now, when you look at your makeup and you deal with your material and deal with your machine and your machine and your market, and you actually preserve yourself and take the right route in terms of exposure, many times, when you find yourself in a place where you need to be funded for your education or funded from one way or the other, you find people really interested in you. It's very, scarce to actually see a young person, or a young person, I mean, a young lady or young boy who is, very ambitious and does not attract, like financing or funding from people. Now, when people see that, look, this is a young man who is serious, they normally can easily stick up their neck for you. So I don't take money or finances as a great, pushback. It's not about your parents can. It's not all about me saying that, oh, my parents can't afford, so I'm not going anywhere. There are many people who did not have, parents who could afford, but have ended up at the other side of life. They've been cutting edge. Why? Because they took their makeup, material, machine, market seriously. I know people who have been sponsored their education. I remember one time I was working with somebody, and I don't want to mention that whether the category of the person. And the person, had to pay, last part of the fees. And that person was very well mannered and very intelligent at work as well. So I said, oh, and the person called and was crying, and I'm going to be sacked from exam. And I said, you don't have a problem. You don't have a problem at all. I said, really? I said, you don't have a problem because you excelled so much during your time over here. Your work ethic, your dressing, your respect, your humility at work. I mean, I just said, come for it. Just come for the fees and go back. And that's it. And the person ended up, working very well, and has done very well, and is doing well in life, writing the professional exams and all that. So when you take your makeup, your material, your machine, your market seriously, all these things like financing and funding. I'm not saying go and look for a big scholarship somewhere, but people in the community, people at work, people around you will also see your ambition and then grant you some kind of push. Now, remember, I'm talking about the cutting edge professional. So remember this chart. I said, who and where do you want to be? Think about it. And even in life right now, you are somewhere among this. And you should push to be a high performer. So valuable that people desire to even spend 10 minutes with you. Fulfilling your mandate in life, because everyone has got a specific time to actually achieve your net. As you sit here and as you're listening to me, you do not know how much time you've got, and you don't know how much time you've spent. And that's why you've got to be serious after tonight, making decisions and commitments as to becoming a different person and changing and actually influencing your country and influencing your generation, being a positive person into your generation. Now, some people read the profile and say, hey, how did he get all these things? You know what? I never thought about, I'm going to build a profile. I was just interested in doing some work, interested in availing myself. So you tell me, okay, there's a committee here, you have to join. I say, yes, I'm interested. And sometimes I sit in a committee and I'm thinking myself that what am I doing here? Because everything they are saying on the first day, I don't understand. And that means that there's going to be a sleepless night. You understand? When I don't understand in the first meeting, I'm not sleeping until I understand everything. I remember that in my master's course, I mean economics and statistics, the guy was very British. He was speaking and I couldn't just get his accent. So I went for the first lecture, went for the second lecture. I said, if I continue like this, I'm going to disgrace Mother Ghana. So I decided to go on YouTube. So I picked the syllabus, YouTube, economics and statistics, and every night after other lectures, I was just zeroing in on it. And I mean, God, to God be the glory. I came out very well under that subject, but I was actually going to fail. The first two lectures, I was like, no, I can't get this done. All right. So get yourself ready. Make a commitment tonight. Decide that you're going to make life different for yourself. It doesn't really matter where you're coming from or what's gone wrong. You know, if you're actually in the low performer, you can change your life and you can change your status and even change where you are right now by doing things very differently. I'm going to share some of the things that you can do to take yourself out of that zone. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this thought cycle: craving, cooking, creaming, and cutting. When you talk about being a cutting edge professional, don't, the cutting has not got any link with the cutting edge professional. So the thought cycle, the craving, cooking, creaming, and cutting. Now let's get into the process. And I call this get into the process. You have dreamt so much, you have thought so much, you have cried so much, you have stayed too long depressed and frustrated. Now get into the business of turning things around for yourself. I mean, I know that God is inside you. See, when we say and feel, no, I cannot afford to not talk about God because I'm a Christian. Now, the word enthusiastic means the real Greek is emtheo, which means God is inside you. So I do not believe in going to church, going to pray all the time, going to do all that, and then not actually sitting down to actually take some processes or commit yourself to some processes. Because the change is actually in the process that you apply yourself to. And all grace and all power has been given to you, has been made available to you, just like how Adam was created. All right. So get yourself ready for this. Let's talk about this. Now, cooking. You see, when I hear somebody sometimes, I mean, somebody's talking and I'm looking at the person and I'm listening to the person, I just say to myself, this person is cooked, is baked, half baked, or has got nothing inside him or her. And how do you cook? You know, when you are speaking, when you begin to grow in your career, you are made up of things that you've listened to, books that you've read, all right, places that you've been to, people that you have been exposed to. So you are a cooked person. When you speak, you don't even remember or know what book is influencing your speech, or whose book that is influencing your speech, or what you saw that is influencing your speech. So your cooking must be constant as a person. Now, when you cooking is about making you. We're talking about cutting edge professional. What are you doing now that will take you to that place that you desire? What did you and do you aspire to be? You see, I asked this question in this way because I want you to think again. Now, what did you aspire to be? And now, what do you aspire to be? And that is life. Because you start off, I remember when I was a kid, anybody asked me, what do you want to be? I said I wanted to be a pilot. Yet me, I'm afraid of heights. The highest building I went to was Malaysia, and it was 89 floors. And whilst everybody was looking down, I was looking up. I wasn't interested in seeing what was down. 89 floors, it's like you're standing in an aeroplane, and that's the tallest building, the Twin Towers in the world. 89 floors. So you know that at some point I had to quickly rethink my ambition of becoming a pilot because I would just leave the plane and go and hide somewhere. The people would just crash over there. So, what did you aspire to be, and what do you aspire to be? That's very important. You see, what you aspire to be will determine the kind of cooking that you have to do for yourself. Because if you don't know what you are making, assuming you are making a cake and you go and pick spinach leaves, or you are making cake and then you go and pick tomatoes, I mean, it doesn't make sense. So, what you're cooking or what you intend to cook or become, all right, must influence what you actually put in. Ernest, please notify me because you know I've got a lot of things to say. So
Oh,
notify
please
me when
go
we close.
on. Please go on. Please
Okay,
go on.
all right. Okay, so I mean, you need to decide what you want to come out as. Do you want to be ordinary? Do you want to be just that man that continues sentences? You know, you go for meetings and when the people are speaking, like the guy will say, and the guy was going to then the guy was bathroom, or when he said he was about, they don't say anything in the meetings. They just end people's sentences. They don't say things that leave people, thinking in meetings. They don't say things that leave people, considering things. They are just people who add up to things. I don't want to be that kind of person. If you want to be a cutting edge professional, you are that person. When there are meetings going on, people want to hear your view. They want you to be in the meeting because they know that you are a game changer. Each one of us wasn't made ordinary. Each one of us, nobody was made ordinary. Nobody was made ordinary. And I want you to understand that and keep that in your heart. Nobody was created ordinary. But we make ourselves ordinary. Now, when you cook yourself, you depart from the place of being ordinary. So that when your pen hits paper, it's a different story altogether. When your voice hits the airwaves, it's a different story altogether. When you stand to present, it's a different story altogether. So what have you been putting in? What have you been putting in your life? What are the ingredients? Over this COVID period, what have you been investing in? What have you been spending your time on? What have you been reading about? Some people like to read. I don't know if there's still PNP, but you see, there's so much on YouTube now, and there's so much to watch, and so much to watch to actually denigrate us, to things that will even take us lower. Not that even keeps you average, but just wear down our thinking and wear down our intelligence. There are many things out there. What have you been putting in? What's going on? What have you been putting in? Sometimes when you're about to sleep, you're like, hey, today I've really wasted time. I've just been walking about, having conversations, and WhatsApp takes our time. All kinds of chats, all kinds of videos, all kinds of communication. And the youth are so engrossed in these things. What are you becoming? What are you becoming? When you look at it, what are you becoming? Are you becoming a professional? Are you becoming that valuable person that you want to? And then how frequent are your observations or review? A life that does not go through constant review or observations is definitely going to hit some kind of struggle later on. Because you need to observe your life and review and say, okay, so what's this? I need to check this. I need to get this in my career. What is it that's going wrong? Am I cooking well? Oh, I went to a meeting. I heard this guy talk. Don't say, oh, the guy, look at the way he's talking. He's too no, papa. He thinks he knows everything. No. You don't know what he knows. I remember I went for a meeting somewhere and the guy was talking. And he mentioned a book, I forgot the Smart Guts something, and the guy was talking. A lot of people came to speak that day, even ministers. But when the guy took the podium and he started speaking, everybody was quiet, and I was watching this guy, and I was like, I want this guy. So when they closed, I went to him. I'd met him somewhere before. So when I saw him, I was like, this guy came. But that time, the day I saw him, the first time I saw him, he prayed. I didn't hear him talk. But this time he was giving a speech. So I went for his complimentary card and met him somewhere else again. I said, you know what? The last time you really spoke well. In our generation, people cannot say, so don't mind the guy. The guy, they rush. Charlie, they rush. If you say no, there are people who know more than you. So when you meet them, you review yourself and you observe and say, wow, there's something lacking inside me that I need to find. Then is the fire you have enough? So you're cooking. If you're using in cooking, there are regulations of fire to make sure that the output or the product or whatever you're cooking comes out well. If the fire is not enough, I don't know how to cook very well, but I can tell you that fire is relevant. The power in the fire and the energy in the fire is relevant for the cooking. How much fire do you have? Have you already, I'll talk about burning out, but I don't want to talk about over here. How's the fire? How's the fire in your life? How's the fire? How's the leading? How's the participation? Are you apathetic about things? Are you passive? Are you a casual person or anything goes? Don't worry. Charlie, they will do it. They will do it. Leave them. They will do it. People will say, oh, leave them. They will do it. Hey, but me, I cannot be like you. We all cannot be like you. Those things are things that you should never say when you want to be cutting edge. You should always adapt and try to desire higher living. Amen. I've said amen. Good. All right. So cutting. Let's talk about cutting. Now, cutting is pruning off, and this is the most difficult thing, or difficult aspect. People don't really want to cut off things. How much are you willing to give away? You cannot eat your cake and have it. You want to watch Netflix. You want to watch. I'm not saying Netflix is bad. After this, I'm also going to watch a Netflix, but I've used my time, sometime wisely. Sometimes I play video games. I enjoy it as well. But most of your time should be reading and cutting off certain things. There are things that you need to cut off. There are friends that you need to cut off. frankly, I think that 70% of a person's, I might be wrong, but I think that 70% of the people that hang around you have an effect on your life, even not even 90%. So there are some people who should never come into your inner circle because they are going to limit you from becoming that professional. I mean, if you are working with people who are always late, who don't care about what they wear, what they do about their hair, I mean, how they respond to their colleagues. They don't like teamwork. How they respond to their bosses or forget that boss. Charlie, that man cry. He's some way. He's some way. You don't know how he got there. All you have to do is just work along. But if you got friends like that, you need to cut them off. How much are you willing to give away? Some people don't like to give sleep. Hey, as for me, I don't play with my sleep. I need to sleep and make sure that I really slept well and I enjoyed myself before. A little sleep, a little slumber, and poverty will come upon you like a bandit. That's what even the scripture says in Proverbs. So how much are you ready to scrape off to fit in? And I use the word scrape because it's difficult, it's painful. We don't want to scrape anything. You have to scrape off some things. It's difficult to get rid of it because if you don't get rid of it, it's actually going to linger upon you. Like one day in an interview, and one, two, three people had come and they were interviewing for a position, and one guy enters the room and the whole room changes. You know what I mean? The aroma in the room changes when your friend tells you that, you know what, my brother, and you need to have friends like that in your life. You know what? You need to use some things to keep yourself clean. Because look, right there when you enter, we can't even interview you. So we'll ask you, what is your name? Where are your certificates? Okay, thank you. You hear from us. You have filled the interview. We don't even care. Because if this guy is going to sit in the office, we all can sit in the office. So we don't care how much intelligent you are. These are some of the things. Scrape it off to fit in. If you don't scrape it off, you can't fit in. You can't fit in. You can't fit in. The way we do things must change. What's your method of cutting? Some people want to cut slowly, but you see, when you want to get high up, or you want to push ahead, or you want to be ahead of competition. Now, competition is not a game. There are people who are not even in the game. I told you, when you don't, so today, if you don't know how to use Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, if you want Excel, NS, that one free advert. You come and see, I'll charge you and I'll teach you. But if you have to get these things, do it now. What's your method of cutting? Don't say, oh, don't worry. You see, right now we are doing COVID. We have to enjoy it. So around September or October, then I'll start. 2020 days is gone. It's gone. Hey, every month, yeah, something new comes. When we started July, now I said John is dead. It's not easy. So I'll wait when it's about December, then 20. You don't have time. You don't even know if you'll be called for an interview next week. You put your CV somewhere, right? Okay, one for interview. Okay, when you got there, it's okay. If we have this Excel, can you do it? I've had countless number of people call me about that. Okay, hey, I went for the interview and they said we should work on this Excel. Can you help me with this? So I said, what have you been doing with your life? What's your method of cutting? Do it now. Do it now. Sense of urgency. Now let's talk about this. Creaming, creating an icing. Now it's not enough to be just an employee or a staff. I don't want to work with somebody who is just got the regular skills or the normal skills that is required for the department. No, I want somebody who can go back and think about how things can be done differently and ease the burden on his boss or her boss. You understand? If your boss gives you do two and then he comes back, you have to think about, okay, what next thing can my boss ask for? And let me say this right here. If there's one thing I want to ever impart to any youth in this world, this one question: what if? Maybe because I'm a finance person and I do a lot of scenario analysis, I like to ask this question: what if? What if changes everything? So you have an interview, and the interview is 10 o'clock, and then also let me sleep small. Hey, that's rain. It's raining serious. I have to sleep small. So I'll wake up at 9, and then the interview is at 10. By if I take an Uber by 15 minutes, I'm in a crowd, then 15 minutes I'll walk to the place. Really? What if that day there's a flood? What if that day something happens and all the Uber drivers are not coming there? So you have to think about it. Why don't I do it 2 hours so that all the what ifs or all the contingencies will be catered for within that time? Right? Sometimes even in going to work, I take an extra shirt. Why? Because I'm an extra shirt and I always have a jacket, even when there's no meeting. Because why? Because suddenly, if there has to be some kind of investors and I have to meet them, okay, maybe I'm not saying I dress badly, but let me have a second shirt. You don't know what's going to stay in the shirt or whatever. So it's there, okay, then I need to just go get that white shirt and put it on. What if? Right? Creating an icing. What's the above average in my league? You need to go. Sometimes one of the things that you need to do, instead of going to Facebook all the time and enjoying yourself and showing your pictures and that, I can't really stand that even for young people. Every time there's a picture of you, or that means there's nothing, there's no serious thing going on in your life. What's the above average in my league? Go to LinkedIn and look at the people in the league where you want to be and see how people are far away, and now begin to pursue them. What's the above average in my league? Remember, I said there are low performance, average performance, and high performance. Who are the average, above average in my league? Who are those in my league? And who are the above average? So you see a guy, he's talking, you see somebody, you know that you don't speak very well, you know that you've got grammatical errors, and you've never read a book this whole 2020, or you've read one book. Some of you should be reading proof. I don't know which word to use. You should be a voice for us. So you should crave books, because books change you. All right, you're reading. It takes you above average, and you will never find anybody really successful who doesn't read. You need to have that reading habit. So what do I have that is in the special league, and what can I never have? There are some things. One of the things that personally I do, and as I said, I don't get it wrong saying my beard looks like someone who is very old. I'm just a young person, and I have a lot of ambition ahead of me, because sometimes one of the things I do is that I go around looking for people in my field, all right, who are older, and look for what they have, let's say, or their certification or their experience. Ask myself that I don't have this, I don't have that. What can I do to get there? Then I write them down, and then I schedule them. So there's now Coursera, there's Udemy, there are all these things. I go there and I try to learn them. Some of them are as cheap as $20. Some of you can buy credit 100 Ghana cedis, in 120, 200. Some of you, Valentine, your eyes are red. Go and buy gift for your girlfriend. Unnecessary, things that we do. Meanwhile, you know that you are building yourself to some level, right? So you have to spend and invest in getting it there. Udemy, Coursera, linked learning. Linked learning, I think you have to pay like $20 a month or something, and then you have linked learning, and there's an overload of learning facilities, and that's all to add value to your life. So you realize what people have that you don't have, that you build yourself on. And then that answers the question, how do I get there? How do I get there? They'll tell you, maybe I did this. Sometimes, one day I send somebody an email. Once in a while I send them an email. So you have this qualification. How did you get there? How did you get it from? Blah, blah, blah. They tell you about it. People who are even going ahead or successful like to share knowledge, unless, they have a psychological, slight psychological problem. But it's always exciting to transfer knowledge to a younger generation. So instead of going to DSA, and I get these emails, a lot. DSA, I was impressed by your profile. Please find attach my CV. When I see it, I'll just delete, because you're not serious. Ask me questions. So what can I do? How can I get this? What should I learn? What should I do? It helps you, all right, to move ahead and to say quickly the person should employ you because you are impressed. It doesn't work like that in the world. And then craving. This is so important. A relentless pursuit. Measure your speed. How is your speed like? Are you run at tortoise speed? There are people in life who tell you, oh, Charlie, you distress yourself too much. Charlie, make you chill small. Chill. People, they tell you, today is Saturday night, you are here reading cutting edge professional. Like, are you serious? You should be standing somewhere eating some guinea fowl with some drinks around you, being excited. Measure your speed. Is it tortoise speed? Is it chicken speed? Or is it the speed of a horse? Because you are achieving and aiming at something, all right? Pushing yourself to get at a particular destination, because you know that time is not on your side, because you know that there is competition. Already we are in Ghana and we are in Africa. And the African, and it's called the third world. God didn't make us third world, but they have made us third world. And it is not surprising that we're third world. When I went to do my master's, the people that were in my group, my team, two from India, one from Nigeria, one British guy. The Indians were good at reading Financial Times back and forth. I was from Ghana. And here was I. What do we read? What are you reading? Finance. Now, but thank God, now there's BNFT, Business and Financial Times. And I did my master's about 10 years ago. Business and Financial Times, all these documents are there for you to read now. But the world is far ahead of us. We are still teaching people with pen and paper and lectures. Sometimes, people come for national service and I ask them, how do you know how to do spreadsheets? And yet they've done finance and accounting. Yet when we're studying accounting and finance at the master's level, they were using Yahoo Finance to teach you about correlation and teach you about how stock prices move together, so you understand it. But here, there's nothing like that. Even the person teaching you has not even experienced that before. So there's speed. You need to speed up. And listen, do not plan yourself that I'm just creating myself just for Ghana. You need to be a global person. Spread your thing across. What we are studying today is global. It's international. Everyone that studies this across board everywhere will learn something from it, and that's the kind of knowledge builder that we need to get ourselves into, so that we can look. I've worked. You read my profile. I've worked in SA. I've worked in UK. And it's not like you've gone in and say, hey, this guy is an African. No, the guy doesn't understand. No, we've matched them boot for boot. The great thing is that, Ghana, we have a lot of intelligence if we have the tools and the resources. But you see, the tools and resources now are on the internet. So we are unlimited anymore. So we can do everything. Now, fired up or burnt out already. Some youth are already fired up. When you ask them, how are you doing? I they look you, boss. I they look you. He's burnt out. And there are some people. There's a young man. Let me give this testimony. There was a young man many years ago, George. And this boy, every time, will be sitting in the library from morning to evening, Monday to Friday, studying. His parents had no money. He was coming from a poor family, but he spent all his time over there. And he was reading two things, as academics and Bible stories. I remember that guy very much. Today he has a master's in business analytics from IE, one of the best schools in Spain. And I know how this guy, went up in life gradually because of those foundations. And I'm saying that it's not late for you now. If you are here, don't feel that, oh my God, so what will I do? What am I going to do? It's now. You can just write. I'm sure you've written down so many things that you can make decisions about now. Now let me finish with this, this is the last on this slide, and the next slide I'll just finish up. Where is your fun? When I talk about fun, I don't mean fun, yeah. Some of you want, yeah. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guy or the man or the woman who fans you into flame. There are some people, the moment you meet them or the moment you talk to them, you believe their presence inspired and encouraged. You need to find that fun of yours. That person that stirs aflame the fires in you, stirs aflame, reminds you, rebukes you, pushes you, encourages you. I don't like people who come and make you feel comfortable and let you feel that you are doing so, or you are doing what you are doing. There's that aspect anyway, once in a while, but don't look at that aspect. Look for people to tell you that, hey, this is missing in your life, and you need to pursue that. So where is your fun? If you have to be a cutting edge professional, you need to find somebody who is your fan. Who is your fan? And there are many over there. You can take me as one, but I will review your application before. Okay, so let me finish with this. This is one of my favorite things that I've learned in business. Maybe another time, if Ernest gives me the time, I'll talk about performance, image, and exposure. I omitted this because of the time that I was given. Performance, image, and exposure is something very important. But let's talk about this. Unconscious incompetence. You don't know that you don't know. This is the most dangerous place that you can ever be in. You feel that, I remember in my first job at KPMG around 2004, 2004, the guy said, the guy came from university, and he was full of confidence. So I was taking him on the job, and he said, all right, okay, so are you very good in accounting? He said, oh yeah, I'm very good in accounting. I got first class in School of Admin. I said, you did go first? Okay. So do you know how to do Excel? So perfect. Perfect. Hey. I said, really? Okay. So I said, okay, come. And I gave him some work. I said, the guy was there forever. He was waiting. Now when I said, my brother, I thought you said you were perfect in Excel. So the one that we were doing school was more Excel. I said, but you see, this you are coming from school, and this is a big four firm. So you should just lower your pride, or your I don't know even what word to use. All right. And then from then, he became a very, very good employee or good staff. But you have to come to a place, all right, of knowing the things that you don't know. You don't know that you don't know. And you need people around you, mentors. So that is why you have to find buddies, people around you who tell you, Charlie, I think that this area you have to sharpen yourself. If you have a good mentor, sorry, If you have a good mentor, the mentor will lead you to things that you have to work towards, right? Now, conscious incompetence, you know that you don't know, and that's a very perfect place to be in. That's like the turning point. When you know that you don't know, and I've talked about these things, that when you go on LinkedIn and then you see people with potential and abilities, you come to the place where it's okay, I need to learn this. You can send him an email. Sometimes you have a brother or sister or somebody around you who can also tell you these are things that you can do to get there. So conscious incompetence, you are conscious that you are incompetent in a particular area. You know that you don't know. But some people know that they don't know. And that's my biggest issue with the youth of today. They know they don't know. But when you want to teach them, they are not teachable. They want to be in their own place until they hit a wall one day, or one day a job comes and there's a requirement on it. You know, one of the things that I used to do, which is also very something important that you need to learn in your field or career, all you do is like go onto the net and type maybe finance analyst and look at the job profiles. You know what I used to do? I'll copy about 20 or 30 of them and I'll put them down and I'll look at it. Okay, I have this. Okay, I have this. Okay, I have this. Okay, I don't have this. Okay, I have the, okay, I don't have this. And I'll bundle all of them together. Then it'll be my study plan because I knew that I did not know. I didn't need anybody to tell me. I was doing my research on the internet to tell you what it is, and I wanted because I wanted to get somewhere. Then conscious competence, competent but takes a lot of conscious effort. So this is a place where you get to where you know that you know your stuff. But as you get into this place, can make you very complacent and think that like man, I'm top of gun. You will always meet somebody who knows more than you, or who is sharper and intelligent more than you, or who has it at second nature what you try to do or what you struggle to do. So when you get to conscious competence, remember that you have to keep learning because you have to be cutting edge. Because listen, if you're ahead of the competition today, somebody can come with something else that you do not know about. Right now, people can do things with phones and do things with Zoom and Zoom. Please, never stop learning. You have to be consciously competent. Now, unconscious competence. Now, this is in two ways: that you know how to do something so well that it becomes second nature. I mean, when you tell me to analyze something, when you give me the sentence, I can do a lot of analysis because I've been doing it so well. And somebody else tell me, oh well, so you're able to break down things very easily or teach things very easily, maybe second nature. But unconscious competence too is the level where you get to where there are things inside you, abilities that you have that you don't even know about, that people need to tell you about. That's why everyone must have somebody, very important, hire, okay, maybe somebody like a mentor or somebody who is interested. I don't like, don't just go and pick a mentor. There are people who are not interested in you, right? I'm talking about somebody who is interested in you, will ask you about your work, will ask you about your career, will ask you about your girlfriend, will ask you about your morality. It's all a part of it. A full-fledged mentor who is very careful. Because look, you can do all the intelligent things. If your moral life is all over the place, you cannot even have a proper image at work. And that's very important. So you need somebody around you. Okay, so all I've said today, okay, this is my last slide, but all I've said today is that move, decide who and where you want to be. Who and where you want to be. All right? Who do you want to be? And where do you want to be? Think about it. Low performer, average performer, high performer. And as I think I'll bring it to, an end at this time. I'm sure I've done within the time that you actually assigned to me. Thank you.
Oh, this is so powerful. This is so powerful. Many things to digest this evening. So for now, we are opening the forum for questions. So those watching us live on Facebook, you can leave your questions in the section, in the comment section, and those on Zoom, kindly raise up your hand so that we can actually take your questions. But this has been so insightful for me. So insightful. Thank you
I'm
so
happy.
much. So please, questions. This is the best opportunity to ask some of the questions that you deeply feel about, especially in your professional life and career. And I think with our guest, he has a lot of experience that maybe he can help you shape some of your thoughts. So please, you can kindly ask your question. Okay, Madam Grace. So kindly ask your question. Thank you.
I understand you. Thank you, sir, for the insightful presentation. I just joined like 10 minutes ago, but I really love it. Thank you. But I want to ask a question on one statement you made. You said that we shouldn't just choose a mentor, we should choose a mentor who is interested in our life. My question is, how do you really know that someone is genuinely interested in your life? Thank you.
Let me answer that. Now, how do you know your father is interested in your life? How do you know your mother is interested in your life? How do you know your brother is interested in your life? When we talk about interested in your life, we're not somebody who is just asking you, okay, so have you gone for the interview? You say, yes, please, I've gone for the interview. How did it go? "Oh, it went well. Okay, fine. Okay, all right, then I'll talk to you later. I'm talking about somebody who's asking you, so how are things going? So fine. So on your way to the interview, what happened? I'm talking about somebody who is interested in your daily activities, all right? Not only the professional side or the career side. So you will find people who genuinely like you. When I say like you, you have to be very careful to, before it goes beyond whatever parameters. There are parameters that you have to set. If it's a male, female mentoring, but ideally try and get somebody of the same sex. And even these days, same sex, there are other issues around it. But first of all, look for somebody who is morally sound. That's number one. Number two, look for somebody who is interested in you, who has your interest at heart, not only your career, but can ask you questions about perhaps your relationship. How is it going? I mean, how is it? Come and show him to me. Let me even meet the person. Let me get, and the person also talks to maybe whoever, your fiancé or your spouse. The person comes to know your house, where you live. You also get to know the person's house, get to know the person's maybe husband or wife, maybe at work. The person can invite you to come to work and come and see the person. The person can sit down at the restaurant with you and eat, pay for you, sometimes, even ask you, how are you doing? How are your finances? I'm talking about somebody who has a total interest in you. That one is easily relatable, so that when you are relating with a person, there are other many bottlenecks in our lives. Not only like when there are many things that even affect you before an interview. All right, it's not about your intelligence. I don't really believe that you can. I mean, you are so intelligent, so you excel in an interview. Sometimes you are very intelligent, but something goes very bad, a bad relationship. All right, or maybe some guy has given you some lady has given you some serious broken heart. It can even affect your interview. So you need a mentor who, not a mentor. In that mentor should be the counseling ability, where you're like, okay, I'm not psychologically correct. Okay, what happened? Okay, how I'm struggling with this guy. Okay, then the mentor can give you guidance. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Then could be asking you, okay, Charlie, this thing you are doing with this girl, you need to watch out. Somebody who is interested, not just career. People go and pick and say, okay, all I allow him is that he only gives me advice about my career. That's it. I don't want him to get in my personal life. When you're going to that, you're going to struggle, because he's going to look at only career, but not know the underlying factors or issues that could affect you in that realm. I don't know if this answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think we will take one question on Facebook, and this question is coming from Solomon Yaose. He's asking, how do you balance your business time and your family time, as both are very important?
Hey, what a question. Okay, now let me also say this. Okay, as much as you try to balance this, and what I'm saying is very, very, very objective. There, you cannot eat your cake and have it all the time. Now, at some point, your family time may suffer. At some point, your business time may suffer. Now, why do I say this? There are times when, maybe let's say my career, let's say when I was working one of my previous companies, I had to go and stay in South Africa for some time. I could have said, no, I'm not going to South Africa to go and stay there, because I've got a wife and I've got a child. So I need to spend time with them. I'm not going. When you make that decision, there's a level of your career that you're not going to get to. All right. Now, I remember that when I finished my master's, I got a job at Bermuda. You know, Bermuda is a very far away land somewhere, a Caribbean land. And I had, when I was going to my master's, I was married 9 months, but I had to take that decision to go. So my wife was here whilst I was over there. Now, after that, when I got, in fact, I was the first person to get a job after my master's in the school. And everybody was like happy, happy, And the guys were talking to me. But you see, I had to go there 2 years and then later on get my wife to join me. So I waited and I said, no, I don't want any problem. I'm just married 9 months. I'm going to meet these Caribbean people over there. They're just going to disturb me and worry me. I spoke to my dad. My dad said, you have to take it. This is a very important thing in your career. I said, no, I can't take it. At that point, I didn't make that decision because I felt that my marriage was more important than the career at that time. When I got married to my wife, I got to a point that she had to go to school. Our daughter was 2 years old. She said no, she wanted to. I said no, you need to go to school. So she had to travel all the way outside to go to the school. I was here with the child. At that time, she had to risk. I would say risk. Okay, so when you say balance, you can never in life eat your cake and have it. But what you do is that sometimes, and it's what my pattern is. I cannot tell you impose my private life on you. So what we do is that, well, okay, let's say every year, everybody is very busy in this house. My wife is a professional, just as I am. In fact, around this time, she's also doing another program, just like me. So every year we would spend time with our child. We would travel outside, go on holiday, and spend time together. Now, this year, no holiday because COVID has by force given us holiday. So we have time to watch movies, maybe sometimes together on Fridays, into Saturdays, or sometimes when there's nothing, we can watch movies over the time and pray together as a family. So that's the aspect when you are in the house, you can have that balance. And then the reading as well. Now, everybody is reading. She's reading. She's as busy as I am. Sometimes you come together. The only times that you come together is actually when you have to come together, maybe discuss family issues, and then maybe, as I said, do something recreationally together. But you can never eat your cake and have it. You are definitely going to have something suffer at one point and then regain at one point. It is a cycle that's going to go on throughout. So if you are a family that wants to be happy all the time, be together, cling to each other in the bed, and be sleeping in bed forever, I mean, that is how you can do it. God bless you, but it's not real. It's not real if you have to, pursue your ambition. Even if you don't work, and even you're a pastor or you're a man of God, it requires a lot of energy and time. And sometimes ministry will suffer, sometimes, family will suffer. And you keep balancing like this throughout. And that's how life is. So I don't know.
Oh, that's so impressive. Oh, great learnings. So there's another question from
So, Ernest,
Boss.
I was just trying to add that there are many things that I'm also learning as a person, right? So as I hit maybe the age at which I am now, I want more family time than ambition. So those times when I was very ambitious, where I mean, I could just maybe change jobs or move from one place to other. I don't care. Like, I just travel anytime. It's different now. Now you want to spend time. Your child is growing. You want to spend time with them. You're growing as well. You are hitting the top career. Now, as you begin to hit the top of your career, what happens is that your company owns you because now they give you a mobile phone. You are traveling business class, first class. So you are, all these things happen, and then they have a grip on you. When they want you on weekends, Saturday, Sundays, you can say, I'm in bed with my wife, and it doesn't happen like that. So the more you want to climb to the top, there are many sacrifices that you're going to have. That's why maybe some people go out on holidays and things together with their family. And I see a lot of that, during summertime when you go to the airport, they are there with their families, all these big guys, because they want to go and spend time, because they lose out on a lot. So that is it. Those are the sacrifices, the scrapings that will go on in your life. Yeah. Sorry for cutting you.
Oh, boss. That's so great. That's so great. So, and there's another question on Facebook, and the person asking is Mr. Martin Salom. He's saying that during interviews, you are often asked about your social media name. So his question is, what caution should young people take to correct such nicknames they use on such platforms? Martin, thank you for your question.
That's an interesting question. Let me give you some my philosophy, right? So even in terms of your email, if your email is Shege 2020, I mean, who do you want to be? Or who are you? You have a name, Yao Mpare, maybe 2020 at Gmail. You have to be very consistent. That's why I said, when I started the slides, I said your seriousness begins even from secondary school, from primary. You begin to think differently. I want to be different. When you start thinking, I want to be different, you do things. But anyway, it's not really only about, because some people really want, Shatawale wants to be, sorry, he wants to be different. He has his own way of thinking and doing things and insulting people online and things like that. If that is your style, then you should never think about doing something very beneficial, insulting people. You should have your own business or farm where you generate your own money. But if you're ever going to work for somebody, everything on social media must be very orderly, even the type of friends that you have. On my page, I block my page from any postings. You can post anything to never show on my page unless I allow it. Why? Because I've got so many friends, and some people can post at any time, which can affect my reputation or image, and then when I don't have control over it. Now, if they say your social media handle, you cannot lie. Of course, that's what you are afraid over there. If you have Shege 2020, you tell them in the interview, Shege 2020. So now, when you begin to think about where you want to go to, this is how you begin to plan your life. That even my social media, Facebook, I will have a name. Even this, I'll do that. Even this, I'll do that. So you see, you begin to prepare. Remember, I talked about cooking. So this is all the cooking aspect. I'm cooking my image. I'm cooking how I'll appear, how I'll look like. If somebody sees me around and say, hey, Charlie Shege 2020, imagine I'm working with your boss, and not even your boss, the guy is interviewing you or having a conversation with you, trying to pick you on. Then somebody walks in the corridor and say, hey, Shege. Man, you love the job. So it's not about even the name that you give yourself, but right from the beginning, what image do you want to carry across? That should inform how you should come out on your Facebook and that's what they do these days. Trust me, I did 5 interviews in one of my jobs, and I never went there physically. They actually captured me on LinkedIn, and I'm sure they did a lot of research on my Facebook and other things. And I don't do pictures and things on my Facebook. I've got pictures there, but like you know, you know, that's all. I wouldn't employ somebody like that. I'm sorry. Because I mean, and you know what some people do? Some people do that. I mean, in the office, they're always taking pictures. You're not working. If you had time to work and pressure that was on your head, and you're like every day thinking and cracking your head, you wouldn't even have the time to be doing those kind of things. So those things are very, very, very serious. People look out for those things. So how you come out on your face, don't take it casual. And then take it. Why would I employ somebody if something about money, analysis? When you're an analyst or somebody who has to be thinking analytically, you have no time to be playing around, fidgeting. You're always looking at it again and again and again and again to get results out of it. So it informs the way you appear out there. I mean, I've tried to answer your question. It works.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Very, very impressive. And I think there's another question from Mr. George. Mr. George, please kindly. Uh,
Yes, thank you very much, Ernest, and thank you, Mr. Mpare, a mentor in the professional space, and very good presentation. Thank you, sir. So I have a question, and it's something that's been on my mind for some time due to the short time I've spent as a young professional, and I want you to highlight on it. It's our topic is being a cutting edge professional, and there's what I've been able to get from your presentation, the need to continue learning, build yourself. I don't know if you touched on this, but how important is the role of networking and building networks within your professional space as a young person? What I've noticed is that some of us can be a lot into our intelligence, our professional skill, just learning behind your desk, not going beyond the four corners of your small office, or even you don't go for industry meeting. You don't reach out to people who are above you and all. What's the role of networking in being a cutting edge professional?
Okay, great question, George. George, you should have come home for us to talk about this. Why are you bringing it here? You want to put me in trouble, eh? Yes, let's talk. As I said, I really wanted to talk about this aspect in it, but maybe Ernest one day, if you when you want me to talk about it, I'll come back with that. And that's a very strong thing I'd like to talk about. So one day I was working about in my previous job, and I was complaining about, why some of the leaders, I was not linking up with them, getting coverage with them, them knowing what I could do. And let me say this as well. So I went to do some work with in South Africa, with the electricity corporation. It's called ESCOM, and I was with the bosses of my organization, which was General Electric GE. So after the meeting, they took me out for dinner, and they kept looking at me, and then they started asking me questions about how long I had worked, my certification and everything. And then the Indian man, he's an Indian man, he shouted at me. He said, "You're a good man, but you don't talk. You don't talk. That's your problem. You don't talk." Now, I learned something from that statement. I mean, the guy really shouted at me because it looks like he was very surprised. I mean, at what had happened over there. It was a very great time in my career. Now, by working with these men, now even the people in Ghana who didn't know my capabilities got to know my capabilities. Now, there are three aspects that I always talk about. Next time, I mean, when I have the chance, I'll talk about it. There's performance, image, and exposure. So that's what the young, I won't say small boy, young guy told me about. He said, "Yeah, if you have to excel in this organization, you have to increase your pie." And I'm sure, George, you've heard this severally. It's one of the things that I tell every professional. Your performance, your image, and exposure. Performance is how you do what you do. You are skillful, you are intelligent, you are competent, you're able to execute on time. Now, image is what people say about you when you are not in the room, or what people talk and even say about your work. So you can have performance, but when the image is bad, nobody is going to employ you. So we have people with great skills. Like, there used to be a footballer called Eric Cantona in England. He was a very powerful striker. But you when Cantona is playing, scores a goal, and you insult him from the crowd, Cantona will leave the field, jump into the crowd, and come and fight with you. So Cantona was very good in performance, but had a very bad image. So performance is like 10%, or let's say 20%. Image is like 20%. I can revise the numbers later on. And then the greatest part of you excelling anywhere in your career is exposure. Exposure is who knows you and how many people know you and who do you know. When you say who do you know, I'm not talking about who do you know that, or because you know somebody, knows somebody, you have to get a job, but it's also part of it. Exposure is in your network. When you mention your name, I'll use George since you asked the example, ask the question. When you say George Annan in the industry, who knows you? Imagine that somebody is, going to make a recommendation. And then it says, a young man came to speak to me and his name was George. George what? George Annan. George Annan? That George Annan can change everything. You can say, very good talent. You need to employ that guy. That is the benefit of network. Or if you see, that's why you need performance, image, and exposure to work together. So if your performance is good, you will say very good guy, and they must have because his image is good. So your exposure has helped you because of your performance and your image. But if your image is bad, all right, you when the guy says George Annan, he can say, I don't think you want to get that guy into your organization. Your network has not helped you. But let me talk about the positive aspects of network. So when you get to know people in your industry, one, you're able to share knowledge with them, ask them questions. Look, there are people that when I started off as an accountant, but now I don't remember anything accounting because I've been training much in strategy and petroleum economics. So when I have an accounting question, I have my friends that I used to work with at KPMG. I can call them now. Some of them are financial controllers, blah, blah. I call them, hey, Charlie, how do you solve this problem? Pam, pam. So I've got a wide network of people who understand accounting. I've got people who understand petroleum economics. I have people who understand strategy. That's in my realm. Then there are people that I look up to as well. People that I've worked with or I've read about that I've even sent messages to on LinkedIn. So if you're going to excel, you need knowledge at your level and knowledge even above you. Now, when you want to bring people, build yourself even before you start thinking about bringing people up. You also have to be at that level where you also, harness, increase your network by getting people to, use you as a mentor. Why? Because you would see a young man coming with a skill and ability, which will also push you and say, oh, wow, this guy is asking me questions, which is letting me, putting me on my toes. So normally when you have people who are like you, or who are not going anywhere, or all you know is your small circle, especially this happens to a lot of Christians. All the people they know are in their church. You are not going anywhere. You need to go on LinkedIn. It's enough of Facebook. Facebook is the play stuff. Go on LinkedIn. Go on other places. Go to meetings. Go to industry meetings. Get to know people. I've been to meetings where everybody's talking. I used to struggle with that a lot, and that's not the Ghanaian style. The Ghanaian style is like, hey, when you go to a place, be quiet and be on your own. I remember when we went to Norway, they said the Ghanaians they like to move in groups. Break that thing. When you go to an industry meeting, you're standing, you just go to somebody and say, hello, sir. My name is Yao. And so, oh, your name is Yao. So I work with so. And I'm at this time, I'm impressed by your profile. Know them, read ahead of meetings like that, and go to places like that. I said that sometimes you just go to some hotels and go and sit there and watch some people when they are, they look business and they are discussing, or even when you want to know how to dress up properly. Some people don't dress, they wear jacket suits and then they have the labels here. All those things are off. And networking helps you to get out of that. Networking is not only when you go and speak to them. Sometimes you even go there and go and observe. Let me give you this last example. A friend brought us an opportunity. We had to go and present on oil and gas in Ghana, in London. A female friend. So we went to London, a colleague of mine. And when we got there, it was like 3-day meeting. So the first day was okay. The second day, a lady came, Rolake Akinkube. You can Google her. BBC produced. When the lady spoke, I just told my friend that, don't you think that we have to go on the next available flight and leave to Ghana or something? Because what she was talking about, the depth, I just imagine that maybe we're in the wrong place because we had just started our career. But sitting in that meeting when we mastered courage, in fact, my friend had a lot of confidence than even me. So she said, yeah, don't worry, we're gonna kill it. I said, we're gonna kill it. So okay, right, that's good. So we spoke and people started asking questions about Ghana. After that, people came for our complimentary cards and other things. Now, going to that place, even though we felt that no, we were not worth it, or I felt that we're not worth it, we had the opportunity to expose ourselves, even take complimentary cards, which actually make a difference in our lives. So, just an attempt to George's question. Networks are very important. You need to expose yourself to people at your level and the people also ahead of you, because that's what's going to give you the market complement that you need above, you need ahead in the competition. All right. Thank you. Let me just do something. Yes, Ernest.
That's great. That's great. Networking, the power of networking. Okay, there's also another question from Isaac, and is asking, how do you deal with internal politics at workplace? I think the
No, I'm here. Don't worry. I was just adjusting something. How
okay.
do you deal with internal politics at the workplace?
Yeah.
First of all, you're a professional. You went to work to do your work, I would say, right? You went to the job place to do your work. Now, let me tell you something that will help you in your career. Where I work is, my organization is a very political organization, and sometimes when there's a change of power, some people can be, what do you call it? I've forgotten the word to use. What do you call it? Maligned, all right, or sidelined. You'll be sidelined, and nobody will even like to work with them. But there's one thing: if you are good at what you do, everybody will like to work with you. You become indispensable. So mind your own business. Do not be involved in corridor talk. And my wife taught me this, something very important. She said it, and somebody also taught her, which I thought was a very brilliant thing. When you are working or when you are in an employment, Don't work in groups. This is the group. This is my squad. This is the people that I like to work with. You know what? When they want to promote one of you, they will not be able to promote one of you, because when they do a favor for one, they have to do it for all. So avoid groups. Groups create politics, right? Now, when there's politics above you, forget about it. You were there to do your work. Concentrate on your work and be a professional. As I said, do not engage in corridor talk and this person has done, this person has done. When they say that's okay, fine. Just go and concentrate on your job. I have worked quite a while and I've worked in very political places before, but I've never been affected by the politics of it. Why? Because I have concentrated just on my work. You can come and say all the things that you have to say about somebody. And listen, somebody's enemy shouldn't be your enemy. When you have to work professionally, when you have to talk to somebody in HR, when you have to talk to somebody in the technical side, don't say that I've heard this about this guy, so me, I'm very skeptical about dealing with the person. That's somebody's idea about it. Work with the person, have your own idea or have your own experience of the person. It might be very different, and human beings are very, very complicated. So you never have to play into the politics of the organization. As I said, be good at what you do. When you're good at what you do, even when you are sidelined for a long time, because God is faithful, you will always have a leader who will come back and say, oh, I think this guy does things very well. Maybe I can give you my example. When I was working in, I won't mention one of the places so that some of you were refer. I don't even know how far this is going, but there used to be three bosses at the place. These three bosses will pass by, greet everyone, mention their names, look at me, and just pass by. Number one, I prayed about it, and number two, I decided that I was just going to go on and do my work. Now I remember I told you about this South Africa experience, so I've even divulged it. So when they came to SA, the executives in Ghana, and then they saw the work and the analysis are done. They were praising the presentation, but they didn't know who did it. Then the guy said, "But this is your guy from Ghana who did this." He said, "Really? Yeah, he the one. Really?" You could see their faces. And when they came back, everything changed. And I remember one time they called me to the office, they were doing a calculation. So as he was doing a calculation, the boy, I said, "No, this calculation is not correct." He said, "Really? It's not correct?" I said, "It's not correct." So I'm coming back. I'll just go and do it in Excel. So when I did it in Excel, took it to his office. When they saw it, they are very fun people. So they shouted, "Hey, come and look at it." They jumped they ran into the kitchen and back, and they were up, amazed how, I had done it in Excel. And the politics of not greeting me ended. I was virtually going into their room all the time. So it takes a lot of patience and time. But if you are patient and you have time and you concentrate on what you're doing, and as I said, and you build, you cook, you cream, it's just a matter of time. I don't know if this helps your question or whoever asked that question.
Great, 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 great. So insightful, Mr. Mpare. So insightful. So insightful. I think, is there any more questions? Because our speaker must be tired now.
Guys, I have to watch Netflix.
Okay, so I think for now there's no hand up. So,
Okay.
Mr. Mpare, on behalf of all the participants and also leaders of change, I want to say a very big thank you. Oh, okay, there's one hand up. So please, let's kindly consider. Okay, Mr. Wudu Dramani, you can kindly ask your question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, my network. Sorry.
I think you can type it out so that I ask on your
Hello.
behalf. Or is your network okay now?
My
Okay, so Mr. Udu, so Mr. Udu, you can kindly type your question in the comment section so that I read it
Ernest.
out. Yes, Mr. Mpare, please let's kindly give him some time and see for that he
Oh,
can.
sure. No problem.
Okay.
We can even do all night. This one is career changing. What is the purpose of sleep when the speed fire? Those who love sleep.
Mr. Udu, can you please hear us?
Hello, can you hear me now? It's like
Yes,
the
boss.
network is good now.
Yes, boss, please, I can.
Hello, Mr. Ernest.
Yeah.
My question, yeah, my question is myself, for instance, has that. So what can
Mr. Udu, I think his network is not that stable. Okay,
do in me?
okay. Mr. Philemon, you can kindly ask your question so that we later get back to Mr. Udu.
Hello, sir.
Okay,
Good evening.
evening,
Good
boss.
evening, sir.
Yeah, my name is Philip. My question is based on maybe a young professional who, at the same time, who is trying to also to lead through maybe national politics, create a balance between his profession and as well as the politics we want to get him or herself into.
Which politics? National politics.
Yes, please.
Ah, Philemon. Okay. Um, First of all, I am not a politician, but I have tried a position that I was voted into power at work. I actually got 97% and my contemporary got 3%. That means that I was very popular, you know, before taking up the position. It's one of the greatest regrets of my life. And if I'd say why. Because there were some of the things that the people were asking for that I was not ready or I didn't believe in and was not ready to bend to make that happen. Now, a politician must bend and make things happen. Professional political combination is such a dangerous combination. Now, when you're a professional, there are standards of behavior. And in other of professions, you have what we call ethical standards that you have to adhere to. Perhaps if you're an accountant, all right, or a finance person, you're supposed to act in a particular ethical way. Now, in politics, you have to do things to please a set of group of people. So, merging your ethical standards with politics might be a very big challenge. That's what I'm going to say. Now, there's another aspect of politics, as you said, national politics. Perhaps you want to be like a parliamentarian or an assemblyman, and you have genuine interest in impacting your society or community by infusing better, rules or regulations, activities or way of doing things by using your professional knowledge. That could be a good step. I do not know how you will be able to survive or be very, very efficient or effective in our world as Ghana. Now, Ghana is a very difficult place to be professional because the average Ghanaian is very corrupt. Doesn't understand why you don't have to add 1 0 or doesn't understand why you don't have to keep a change. when you have been sent? Or does he understand why you must not inflate a budget? I know there are very good people around, but the majority of Ghanaians are used to that. And we see that majority of, this week, I know that Carlos Ahenkra has resigned. Now, he came out to say clearly that he had COVID and went about to whatever, voting or whatever. Now, there are many other people who went about voting who never said it. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just trying to, be open about something. So there are many other people who could not tell the truth. And I'm not saying that maybe Carlos was professional in his action. All I'm saying is that if you are professional and you say that, no, I'm not going to do this, you will not succeed politically. You might have a 4-year term or 2-year term. Somebody might do something to you or something. So it's a very difficult combination. Unless maybe you become maybe the president of a nation, even that one you will not survive, because there are so many stakeholders to please. There are some who give you money to become president, some family members that you have to appease and all that. So professionalism and politics, to the best of my experience, I do not think that I would ever like to get into that political arena unless it's an area where I would be allowed to bring my professional expertise and ethics to bear. Then I can opt for politics alongside my profession. Philemon, does that answer your question? I cannot give a very total answer to that, really, because politics is something else. You know how politics, you have to bend things and rule things. You have to do things in favor of your party, even when the thing is not right. That's not professional. Professional is doing what is right, and sticking to the ethical standards of your profession, doing it right in the right way. Some people can even say that, because you are of this party or because you are of that I'm not doing this. That's not right. I used to work somewhere, and I remember that we had to raise a big loan. I'm not going to give the details. And I went to one of the ministries, and then they had to give us a detail of what the loan was raised for. The man took a pen, and then he took a paper and started writing on the paper what they were going to use the loan for. I don't know whether tears wanted to flow. I wanted to sit on the ground or jump, because I was like, if this was a very hundreds of millions of dollars, and if people did not have a reason for going for that loan, all right, or if they had a reason for going for that loan, they would have had it properly documented, and not somebody take a pen and write it down. That means, and when I saw that, I was like, this is how the country is going. This is somebody who is a finance person. Can you do that when you're actually working according to the ethics, or working according to the ethics of the profession? You can't do that. So that's my comment on that.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, Mr. Mpare. I think let's take this last question. So Mr. Wudu just tested his question in the comment section. He's asking, how can I be a good reader? I really want to be reading a lot, but whenever I pick a book and read like 2 pages, I then drop it, and it takes a week before I even return to it. But I can stay on social media for hours without feeling lazy. So how can he deal with that? Thank you.
Thank you too, Mr. Audu. Let me answer your question very simply, but I'll try to. You are holding fire, and you're asking me, how can I put the fire down when it's burning me? You know what you have to do to get to where you have to get to. Now, the first question is, what are you reading? Is it something that you are passionate about or very much interested in? Something you are very passionate about and very interested in is very difficult to put it down. Sorry. You keep reading until you finish it. And there are many people with problems like this. They start reading and then stop at the end, because what they are reading, maybe after two pages, they lose fire out of it. Now, you must make a commitment. You know what you can do? Just decide for once that this book, I will finish it. Just try that. As for this book, I'll finish it. And get an accountability partner. Somebody who can really insult you and say, see this guy. You say go do that thing, if you do that thing, see your life. And that guy who, when he talks, I saw a post yesterday, he said, who is that one friend in your life, even when you become a president, will still insult you? You open the door and say, hey, I'm looking for a president. Say, who? Make it get out of what kind of president? Look for that kind of person, an accountability partner. That's one thing you can do. Another thing is that you can also get somebody to read along with you. That means that what you are reading must be very interesting, because not everybody likes to. I mean, everybody likes to read. So when you get somebody who likes to read along with you, it helps you. Sometimes I do that, right? But one of the things that I do to finish a book is that I'm looking for something and I make up my mind that I have to do it. Now, maybe I'm teaching on faith in church. So I go and look in my shelf and pick a book of faith. And I'm reading it because I want to be well informed. So when I'm teaching the topic, I have a very in depth understanding of it. So I make sure that I read the book thoroughly, even when it's difficult. And let me tell you, sometimes even where you place the book, personally, I like to read in the toilet. So when you come to my toilet, there are a couple of books on the back side of the toilet. So I mean, I don't know, unless you're a superhuman being, that's a place where almost every day everyone is there, if not once. We who are regular people, we're always there like twice or whatever. And whenever I go there, it's there. So during that time, that's when I pick it and I start reading, get it reading. So you can also put it at a position, at a place where you're reading. Now, listen, social media is good, but can waste your time. WhatsApp and Facebook can waste all your time. So just keep talking to yourself. Anytime you're on Facebook, you say, hey, I will do, here I am. I'm wasting it all. I will do, waste it all, waste it all. You talk to yourself and go and return to the book. There are practical things that we need to do, you understand. And as I said, scraping, this is one of the things. You have to scrape hard. So if you want an account, if you want somebody to be blasting you, you can ask Ernest. I can do that for a fee. I'll be doing that for a fee. All right, Ernest.
Oh, this is oh, thank you so much, Mr. Mpare. This has been a very wonderful section and a lot of learnings cutting across different areas. So I think we are bringing the section to an end, and I would like to say we are so grateful for your time and the impact and the knowledge sharing and the tricks and the tips that you've given us. And I think this will go a very long way to help some of us, and we are going to actually put it in use. So on behalf of all the participants, those who joined us on Facebook, a lot of comments have been on Facebook that it has been so insightful, and they've really learned a lot. And people, the participants on Zoom as well, too, are very impressed with how the delivery went, and also how the sharing of knowledge was very practical, and it was something that actually resonates with us. So I would like to say a very big thank you for your time, especially, and also for your knowledge and your willingness to share it with us. So we are so grateful. And this section has been recorded, so actually I'll upload it on YouTube so that those who couldn't join us can also, get access to it. And those who want to actually watch it again, well, I think the best books, you actually read them more than once. That's one thing I strongly believe about. So we can actually watch it again to pick some tips and conscientize ourselves about them. So I'd like to say a very big thank you to you. And we are so grateful for your time. God richly bless you. Thank you.
Bless you too. Bless you too. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome, boss. You're welcome.
Thank you. All
So,
right.
so let's have a wonderful evening. And everyone,
All right.
thank you and be safe wherever you are. God bless you all.
All right.
Thank you too. Bless you.